welcome back to my channel. Today I have my July wrap-up. It's been a crazy month. So I moved, I read a lot of novellas this month. I read 16 books in total, and I have one DNF. A lot of the books that I read were 3 stars, 4 stars, in that range. Like, a lot of them were meh, but a lot of them were good. And then I have a couple 5-star reads as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with the books that I like the least, work my way up to the books that I like the most. I wanna kind of make this quicker than usual because I'm actually really sick. So if I sound weird, if I seem off, that's why. I might actually have the vid. So Justin is also really sick. He is currently out getting his test, and we had some home tests that were negative, but they were expired by a few months. So he went out to go get tested because he is a lot more sick than I am. I mean, I'm still pretty sick, but yeah, if he has it, I have it. If not, then it's just a cold, but yeah, I'm not feeling well, so if I seem off, that is why. So yeah, the first book that I wanted to talk about is The Black Phone by Joe Hill. This was my DNF. Now, this is actually the book 20th Century Ghosts. It's the same book. They did that stupid thing where they remade it with the movie cover and the movie adaptation. Stop doing that. I saw The Black Phone in theaters, absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. It was done really well. This is a short story collection, and the only short stories that I liked in here, I read about half of it. I liked The Black Phone and I liked Pop Art. The rest of them were so fucking boring. Like, how do you write such a boring short story collection? I don't know, but he managed to do it. Like, I've never read like 30, 40 page stories that were just like a slog to get through. So that's my review on that. That was a DNF. And then my 2-star book is actually another Joe Hill book, which I am so shocked because I gave Nosferatu 5 stars. Loved it. My 2-star read was Heart-Shaped Box, and I thought that I was going to absolutely love this because it's about a dude that's in a metal band who collects like sinister shit. Like, he owns a snuff film, like what the fuck. He owns like just really weird things, like paintings from John Wayne Gacy and like shit like that. And one day he comes across this woman who's selling a dead man's suit. Like, she's selling a ghost online. So she's selling this dead man's suit that contains his ghost. So he essentially buys a ghost online and he gets the suit in the mail, and it's haunted with this dude's ghost. So you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Who is this ghost? Like, what is happening? But it is so slow and boring that by the time like things started happening, my attention was just fully gone. I didn't really care. It was just awful to get through. Like, it was just so slow and boring. So I had to give it 2 stars. Next, moving on to my 3-star reads, I have Cross Her Heart by Sarah Pinborough. This one was a gift for one of you guys. This was from Kelly Rice. So thank you so much, Kelly. I read this one and I gave it 3 stars, like I said. So this one is about this woman named Lisa. She's a single mom, and she had this husband that kind of, he was an absent father. We don't really know much about him. She's kind of keeping things about her daughter's father a secret. And then we're also following her 16-year-old daughter, who she is talking to this man on Facebook. Like, all we know is that it's this older man, and she's kind of seeing this older man, and we don't really know what's going on with that story. So we're learning like more and more secrets about the daughter, and we're learning more and more secrets about the mother as her friends are like trying to force her to go out on dates, and we start learning some things from her past. And I really loved this. I was super intrigued as to where this was gonna go, but then the reveal happened, And the motive, no, it was a no for me. Like where this ended up going, I was very disappointed because, like I said, I loved the first like half of the book, and then things started being revealed and they just didn't make sense to me. And from what I understand, a lot of people feel the same way about this book because I've read a lot of similar reviews. So I went with a 3-star. So I have a hard time with a lot of thrillers because I'm like, the motive doesn't make sense. So that's my issue. But yeah, it was okay. Next 3-star was And Then I Woke Up, which is a short novella by Malcolm Devlin. This one is in my horror novella vlog that I did this month, which I will leave linked up above and down below so you can go check that out. I read 4 novellas and this was one of them. And I do share my full thoughts in that vlog, so I'm not going to get too in depth, but this one is about this man Spence, and in the beginning of the book we see he's in a rehabilitation facility where he meets this one friend, and we slowly start learning why they're in this rehabilitation facility where people are seeing other people as monsters and you don't know what's real and what's not, so it affects your perception. And this is just has a lot to say about like societal commentary. It's more of like a philosophical horror. Like it's not horror, scary, crazy, like it's a lot of philosophical stuff that went over my head, so it wasn't exactly my thing, but it was okay. Next 3-star was a manga. I think it's technically a manhwa. It's like a Korean manga. But it is Killing Stalking Volume 1. This just came out in the United States and I snatched it up because McKay has been like telling me to read this a million times. So I got the physical copy and I was disappointed because I didn't realize technically Volume 1 ends at like chapter 19. This one ends at chapter 10. So nothing happened until like the end of chapter 10, and I'm like, so I'm reading this and I'm like, this sucks. Like what the hell is going on here? Like why does everyone love this book, right? Because I got scammed, that's why. I think there's like 70 chapters or something like that, so there's gonna be a lot more volumes. And the next one doesn't come out till November. But anyways, let me tell you a little bit about this one. Killing Stalking is about a man who is obsessed with another man that he has a crush on, and he is stalking him. And one day in the beginning of this book, he breaks into his house and finds out that this dude that he's obsessed with is like a serial killer. So basically this entire book is about abuse. So definitely check the trigger warnings. It's psychological horror. Apparently people are labeling this as romance, which is like, no. This is like the farthest thing from romance. Like I can see why people are like really turned off by this, because if you're going into it thinking it's romance and it's about this like crazy abusive relationship, like no. It's psychological horror, and it's just very heavy abuse, rape, physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse. Like it's really heavy, disturbing, disgusting. And these motherfuckers are crazy. I was reading this and I was like, ah, what the fuck? But I can see like where this ended, I can see this getting crazy and intriguing, and I definitely want to read the second volume because I had no idea that this ended like so abruptly, and that's why I gave it 3 stars, because it didn't really go anywhere yet, but I can see myself getting into this, so I'll keep you posted on that. My next 3-star is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Now, I love Gillian Flynn. Gone Girl, I loved. Sharp Objects, I really enjoyed. The Grown Up, I really enjoyed. Are those her only books? Gillian, where have you been, girl? So I really wanted to read Dark Places. A lot of people told me that this is her best book, and in my opinion, this is my least favorite. I gave this 3 stars. It's about this girl, Libby. And when she was younger, her entire family, when she was 7, the rest of her family was killed by her brother. So at least we think they were killed by her brother, because she testified in court and said, oh yeah, it was my brother, he did it, he killed my family. But she never actually saw her brother do it. So we're like, okay, did he not? And in present day, I think it's like, yeah, 25 years later, she meets this guy Lyle, and he's in this kill club, and basically it's people that are obsessed with true crime, and they investigate things on their own, and he invites her to like become the speaker, and she's desperate for money, so she decides to go to this kill club convention, and apparently there are like tons and tons of people that are convinced that her brother was not the killer, and that someone else killed her family that night. So she starts being convinced a little bit, like, okay, maybe my brother didn't do it. So she starts investigating with Lyle more and more, and we start, you know, we get flashbacks between like her mom and her brother, and we slowly start learning like this family's dynamics and what actually happened. Now, this is more of like a slow burn, like family drama thriller. It's like that style of thriller where you're learning more and more like family drama and family dynamics. And that's great. But there were a lot of parts of this that I found boring, and I didn't really connect with a lot of the characters. Like, I really honestly did not like a single character in this book. I didn't really like our main character. The brother was just fucking creepy, and the motive, like what actually happened at the end, I was like, okay, that was it? Like, I read this entire book for that? So, I don't know. I mean, I love the writing style. I love Gillian Flynn. I liked it. It wasn't bad by any means. It was just, I was expecting like something really great, and it just ended up being average. My next 3-star is Mary by Nat Cassidy. This was one of my most anticipated reads of the year, one of my most anticipated new releases, and this one fell a little bit flat for me. So in this one, we're following Mary, and she is going through it. She's having hot flashes. She feels weird. She's having these headaches. Every time she looks in a mirror, she sees herself dead. She sees herself as like a dead, decaying corpse. And she's like, what the fuck? So she goes to all these doctors, and they're like, oh, you're just going through perimenopause and blah, blah, blah. So one day she gets a call from her aunt. And her aunt is dying, and she's like, hey, can you come over and like take care of me? All my family left. You're the only family member I have left, and I'm dying. But her aunt's like a bitch, so she doesn't really want to go because her aunt is like not a nice person. But she decides to do it anyways, and she goes to stay with her aunt, and ever since she's been staying there, like these weird things just keep happening more and more. And now she gets this journal, and she's realizing like her journal entries are not actually her writing them. Then she gets this job, and weird things start happening at her job with her and her coworker, and it's crazy. So I was obsessed with this book the first half. It's a very long book too. It's like 400 and some pages, I think. I wouldn't say very long, but like longer than it needed to be, honestly. I was obsessed. It was like a 5-star read. I loved getting to know Mary. I loved the character development. I loved her, like, and her co-workers' dynamics, and I loved where this was going. And then unfortunately it took this turn and like did the thing where it's like, it's possibly this, it's possibly this, it's possibly this, it's possibly this, and then you end up with like all these possibilities, and then it's like, just kidding, it's actually this. Just ended up going kind of off the walls, and I lost my interest, I would say around the 50% mark or 60% mark. I would say the 60 to 80% mark, I just did not care. And then the ending, I liked how it actually ended. It was just, I don't know, there was just too much going on, but yet like not enough at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like if you liked the movie Midsommar, you would like this because parts of it have like a similar vibe, but I hated that movie. So that's it. That's my review. And then my last 3-star read, I'm telling you, I had a lot of 3-star reads. The Mist by Stephen King. This one's a short little novella by Mr. King, and it's about this mist where people start like dying and being consumed by this mist, and we don't really know what is going on. So we're following this man and his son, and they go to the grocery store, and they all basically get trapped in this grocery store because no one wants to leave because they don't want to die from the mist. So that's what it's about. It just ended up being okay for me. The movie ending, phenomenal. I loved the movie ending so much more than this ending because this is like ambiguous. You don't really know what's going on. The movie was like sinister. It was like messed up, and that's the kind of thing that I love. So I did prefer the movie over this one, but this one was okay. Like if you're looking for a short Stephen King book, I mean, check it out. Okay, so I have one 3.5, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is the first of 2 Paul Tremblay books you will see in this video. And this one, I just finished it today. I read it in literally one day. And it's about this couple, Eric and Andrew. They have this adopted daughter, Wen, and the 3 of them go on this little family vacation to this cabin. So this group of crazy people show up to their cabin and they're like, hey, let us in. Like, we came to visit you because it's your responsibility to save the world from the apocalypse. That's all I really want to say. This book was super interesting. Parts of it were a little bit slow. Parts of it were a little boring for me, but it was super interesting, and I was super invested and intrigued as to like what the hell was going on with this apocalypse and what craziness are these people talking about. And the problem that I had, which is like everyone's problem with this book, is it's super, super ambiguous, so you don't really get any answers. You're just following this story and then it just kind of ends, and it's like, the problem I had with this ending was the same problem I had with The Mist by Stephen King. It was just kind of like, okay, but I want answers. I want them. And you're not giving them to me. But also, there's something very fucked up that happens in this book, and I won't hint as to what it is, but I think that is like the real horror aspect of this book. And it's almost like, okay, do we even need answers at this point? Because what happened is like fucked up. And I don't know, I feel like that might be the point that Paul Tremblay was trying to make. I don't know. I feel like I could probably have like an hour-long discussion about this book if I really wanted to. So let me know if you want to talk about it. But I did enjoy it. I did like it. There is a movie adaptation coming out in February. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that. I definitely enjoyed it. There were just, like I said, some parts dragged a little bit, and the ending, not ideal. I wish we would have had more answers. But overall, I would still recommend, and it's another like pretty solid Paul Tremblay book, honestly. Next, moving into my 4-star reads, finally, we have Crossroads by Laurel Hightower, which was in the novella vlog that I put up, and it's about a woman who loses her son, and she's grieving. I think he was 22 and in a car accident, and she's grieving and basically goes to his roadside memorial one day, and has a cut on her finger, and she thinks that the blood from the cut brought him back to life because now she's seeing his ghost. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I talked a little bit more about it in the vlog, but I didn't give any spoilers away, so go check that out. Definitely recommend. And then the other novella that was 4 stars from that vlog was Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. This one is disgusting. It's disturbing and disgusting, and I can't say why. I can't tell you what the trigger warnings are because it literally gives away like the entire book. So this one is about this woman, Lori, who's obsessed with this serial killer, and he's in jail, and she writes letters back and forth to him, and she wants to be like his #1 groupie. And he tells her, okay, in order to be my #1, you have to go to my cabin in the middle of the woods and retrieve this key from a chest, and then you have to bring it to this mysterious figure man known as the Riverman. So she accepts his quest, and that's what this is about. She brings her sister along with her, who is like mentally and physically challenged, and it's fucked up. That's all I have to say. It's more extreme horror, disgusting, disturbing, and I gave it 4 stars. If you want to hear more thoughts, check out the vlog. 4-star is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Now this one is a thriller where this husband and wife are serial killers. So you are following the husband's perspective and what he does to like lure women in, and what his wife is doing to these women, and you're also simultaneously following their family dynamic. They have 2 kids, so you're also learning like their family life and like what their kids are up to and their parenting and what's going on like just within their family. So it's super interesting because you're learning about their family and you kind of feel bad for them in certain scenarios, and then you're like, wait a minute, they're literally serial killers. So I won't give too much away because I think it's best to go in blind, but I really had a fun time with this one. I listened to the audiobook as well as physically reading along, and it just went by pretty quick for me, and I don't particularly like where the ending went, but it was super enjoyable and a fun time. My next 4-star read is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Now this one is a sci-fi thriller, and I read Dark Matter and Recursion last year, or in 2020 I think. Loved both of them. I think I gave both of them like 4.5 or something like that. 4.5, 5 stars, I don't even remember. Absolutely obsessed. This one I didn't like as much as those 2, but it was pretty close. Like they're all pretty close in how good they are. But in this one we are following this man, Logan, and he is in the GPA. So this is the Gene Protection Agency. So basically all we know, and all that I will tell you, is that people started experimenting with genes, and it takes place in the future. So people started experimenting with genes and manipulating genes, and things went horribly, horribly wrong. And now he is a member of this Gene Protection Agency, basically cracking down on, you know, scientists and people that are manipulating genes and arresting them because it's illegal. So one day he's like on this bust, and something goes wrong, and he discovers like the next day he wakes up and he's so much smarter, he's so much faster, he is like he has super senses, like everything about him is upgraded. So now we are following him as he has these new powers, and he now has to save the world. So that's all I'm gonna say. It was super enjoyable. The science went a little over my head, more like a lot over my head, because I am just not smart with that sort of thing. So it did go over my head a little bit, but I had a fun time reading it. The ending made me cry, like I'm not even kidding. The epilogue made me cry, and it was just like the perfect wrap up to this book, and I highly recommend. Another solid Blake Crouch. My next 4-star is The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. I'm actually shocked how much I enjoyed this one, because I've heard terrible, terrible reviews, and I've also heard like rave reviews. But this book is kind of about nothing, so I wasn't expecting to like it, but I actually really, really enjoyed this one. So in this one, it's kind of a memoir. I wouldn't go into this assuming that it's horror. It's a fictional memoir about this guy, Art Barbara. He's writing a memoir about his life all throughout like high school and middle school, or high school and college. and he meets this friend Mercy, and Mercy finds his memoir and starts making edits to it. So you'll see all the red handwriting is Mercy, and then, you know, all the regular writing is his actual memoir. So we are following this dude Art, and in high school he decides to make this pallbearers club, and they attend, you know, poorly attended funerals of, you know, like elderly people that don't have any family, or like homeless people, or people that die and don't have anyone to attend their funeral. He starts this club in high school in order to kind of like get into a good college and show that he did some kind of extracurricular activity. And this girl Mercy decides to join the club, and she's like crazy. She's taking pictures of the corpses. She's sassy, she's sarcastic. I became obsessed with her because she reminds me of myself. And so we're basically learning about these two characters. It's very heavy character development, and you're learning about their lives. Like, there's nothing too crazy going on. There's a slight supernatural element to it, which people have been saying, and I don't know, I kind of feel like it gives a little bit away, but there is a slight supernatural element to it, and it does have an ambiguous ending where you're kind of like, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, what the fuck did I just read? It's your typical Paul Tremblay, what the fuck did I just read? That's what this is. And I don't know, I really just loved the characters. And if you're gonna write a book about essentially nothing, I want it to be character development, because that's what I love in a book. I don't really care about plot development too much, because sometimes that's really boring. So I am interested in learning about the characters that I'm reading about. So I think he did a great job at doing that. And you know, Art has some chronic pain issues and medical issues that I loved reading about, because I have chronic pain issues. And Mercy, like I said, is sassy, sarcastic. We have a lot of like 80s, 90s punk references in here, which I loved. And I don't know, I just loved getting to know these people. And I also loved the supernatural element. The ending literally blew me away, and I enjoyed it a lot. And you just have to suspend your disbelief a little bit for this one, but I'm shocked that I liked this as much as I did. And yeah, another solid Paul Tremblay. I think Paul Tremblay might be like my new thing. Look out, Grady Hendrix. Just kidding, Grady Hendrix is my #1. Moving into the 5-star reads. First we have Any Man by Tamblyn. I forget her name, Tamblyn something. It's on the screen. So this one I listened to an audio. It's super short. It's like a novella. I listened to the audiobook. It took me like 2 hours. And this one is about, it's mixed media. It's like poetry, prose, a novel. There's like Twitter posts, there's news articles, interviews, like stuff from the media. It's just a mixture of different things. And it's about all these men that were sexually abused by this like serial rapist woman, and the author basically flips the script and is like, okay, well, what if I write a book that's about men being sexually abused? And we're kind of learning about each of these men and how the media portrays people that go through trauma, and how people respond to other people's trauma. And it's just a lot of like social commentary, and just accurately describes how people view other people and their trauma. And it's just very beautifully done, very well written. The audiobook is fucking fantastic. It's a full cast, and the author herself is one of the characters in the book. So highly recommend the audio. Like, I could not recommend the audio enough. I listened to it on SCRIBD. So if you have SCRIBD, it's a super quick read, beautifully done, highly recommend. My next 5-star read is no surprise. It's the new Coheed and Cambria book. So in July, they came out with their new album, A Window of the Waking Mind, which the title of the book is A Window of the Waking Mind. I own the book, but it's in the living room, and I don't feel like getting up. But This one is Act 2, so if you know anything about Coheed and Cambria, all of their music is based off of books that they write. So my camera light just died, like it always does. Hopefully the lighting is okay. But if you know anything about Coheed and Cambria, their first 5 albums, I think, are based off of the Amory Wars, which is this like comic book series that they came out with, and it's this whole sci-fi universe. And now they started doing like little side stories that go along with that. So they had like the Afterman, which is the side story that takes place within that universe, and now they have the 5-part side story that goes along with this universe, and this is the second book. So they have 3 more albums and books coming out with this series. So I read the second one, and I saw them in concert the other night, which is where I got this hoodie. I saw them again, and that's also where we got sick. But yeah, I read the second book in the series, and it was fucking fantastic. Like, I am just so obsessed with Chandra and Claudio's writing, and how this book ended on this cliffhanger, and it tied in with the Afterman and the Amory Wars, and it was just so good. So good. It's about this woman Nia and her husband Nostrand, and they have a son named Vaxis, and Vaxis is sick, and they have to break into this lab and try to find this like medication that can cure him. They come across all these like evil people along the way, and it was just really well done. The cliffhanger is fantastic. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's like, if you're not into Coheed and Cambria, you probably won't read them. But if you are, highly recommend read the first book, The Unheavenly Creatures, if you can get your hands on it. It's kind of hard to get your hands on those. And then read this one. Fantastic. My next 5-star read and my last book that I want to talk about is For the Sake of by Judith Sonnet. This is extreme horror. It's part 1 in a trilogy. The second one is out. I own it. I'm going to be reading it this month in August. This one I also read for that vlog, so if you want to hear full thoughts, check the vlog out. I'm like a broken record. But this one, fantastic. Fantastic extreme horror story about a woman whose child gets abducted by this crazy man who's obsessed with like making people do disgusting, disturbing, vile things for this like dark web. These people on the dark web that like get off to people doing disgusting, disturbing, humiliating things. And he's like, you have to do all these things in order to get your daughter back. And it's really fucked up, but it reads like a thriller, like an extreme horror thriller. It's like the cops are involved, the husband's involved, like it has a point, it has a plot. It's not just like torture for no reason. And I highly recommend this one. Look up trigger warnings, there's a lot, but it was fantastic, and I cannot wait to read the second one. I hear that one's even better. So yeah, Judith Sonnet is just an auto buy for me. I love her, and she's so nice too. But yeah, highly recommend this one if you're looking for a good extreme horror. And that is it. I'm gonna go rest my voice, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.